Hello and welcome to another edition of News Showcase. I am Priya, Tamil Nadu's first artificial intelligence news presenter. Tamil Nadu's Chief Minister M.K Stalin arrived in Chennai early today after a visit to Spain. The Chief Minister took the trip to meet with the business community to attract investments in Tamil Nadu, as well as other engagements. He was received at the airport by senior leaders of his DMK party, including ministers, lawmakers, and state officials. At the start of the year, the Chief Minister hosted a global investors meet in the state, which was attended by more than 150 representatives from businesses around the world who promised to explore a range of opportunities. The investors meet was also attended by India's top business leaders and conglomerates.
அபாக்லாய்டு நிறுவனம் 2500 கோடி ரூபாய் முதலீடு. எடிபான் நிறுவனம் 540 கோடி ரூபாய் முதலீடு. ரோகா நிறுவனமும் 400 கோடி ரூபாய் முதலீடு செய்வதற்காக உறுதியளிச்சிருக்கு. இந்த நிறுவனங்கள் மட்டும் இல்லாமல் மற்ற நிறுவனங்களும் அடுத்தடுத்து எதிர்காலத்தில் தங்களோட முதலீடுகளை மேற்கொள்வாங்கங்கிறத நம்பிக்கை எனக்கு இருக்கு.
The biggest challenge facing Indian politician Sharad Pawar is getting the word out about his party's new name and symbol, with less than 2 months to go before the general elections. On Tuesday, the Election Commission ruled that the Nationalist Congress Party, which he founded, was no longer his and suggested that he choose a new name and symbol for his faction. The NCP now belongs to breakaway leader Ajit Pawar, and its popularity with the voters gives him an unfair edge in the polls. People in rural areas may still associate the NCP's clock sign with its original founder. Supporters of Pawar said they will challenge the election regulator's decision in the Supreme Court, but a favorable outcome is unlikely before the polls. The Foreign Minister of Bangladesh is on a 3-day visit to India, his first foreign tour on the job. The Indian government said social media the visit will further strengthen ties between the neighbors. Hassan Mahmud has lined up talks with his counterpart Jaishankar to review progress on a broad range of bilateral matters. According to the Foreign Ministry, talks will also touch regional, sub-regional and multinational issues of common interest. Mahmud served as Deputy Foreign Minister in Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's second term. Hasina's Awami League was re-elected last January in polls boycotted by the main opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party and its allies. India has issued a travel advisory to its citizens and urged them not to visit Rakhine State in Myanmar due to the worsening security situation. The advisory from the Ministry of External Affairs comes in the wake of a surge in violence, as well as a telecommunications network outage and a shortage of basic supplies. Since October, there has been intense fighting between armed ethnic groups and the Myanmarese military in parts of the country. Since the military overthrew the government in a coup 2 years ago, violent protests have called for the restoration of democracy in Myanmar. Myanmar shares a 1,600-kilometer-long border with several of India's northeastern states, including regions hit by militancy. Later this month, the Indian Air Force will carry out Vayu Shakti 24 exercise at the Pokhran air-to-ground range near Jaisalmer in Rajasthan. The exercise was last held in 2019. This year, 121 aircraft, including the indigenous Tejas, Prachant and Dhruv, will take part in the drill. The French-made Rafale and Mirage 2000, Sukhoi 30 MKI, Jaguar Hawk, C-130J, Chinook, Apache and Mi-17 are among the other aircraft that will display their capabilities during the drill. The Indian Air Force's capacity to deploy weapons with long-range and precision capability will be showcased during exercise Vayu Shakti. Last month, a military publication, Global Firepower, ranked India's military as the 4th most powerful in the world, behind the US, Russia and China. A day before Pakistan votes in general elections, 2 devastating bomb blasts targeting election offices in the restive Balochistan province has killed at least 25 people and injured dozens more. The first incident happened outside the office of independent candidate Asfandiar Khan Kakar in Pishin district, where the blast caused 17 casualties and 30 injuries. Less than an hour later, another bombing occurred outside the election office of a Jamiat Ulema Islam Pakistan in the Kila Abdullah area, leaving 8 people dead and 12 injured. In Balochistan, which borders Iran and Afghanistan, violence has peaked ahead of the polls on Thursday. 10 grenade strikes were reported on Tuesday around the province at various security installations, campaign headquarters and demonstrations. Ukrainian authorities say Russian missile strikes on Wednesday caused damages in Kyiv and other locations, resulting in at least 3 fatalities and 11 wounded. According to President Volodymyr Zelensky, 10 people were injured and 2 individuals died in Kiev, and authorities said A man was also slain in the southern city of Mykolaiv. Air alerts were issued for the entire nation, and reports of strikes reached as far west as Lviv, close to the Polish border. The mayor of Kiev said some homes in the city were left without electricity after a downed Russian missile destroyed power cables. According to Ukraine's commander-in-chief, Russia had fired 64 missiles and drones, of which 44 were intercepted. The Ukrainian Air Force reports that Russian cruise missiles were sighted over the western areas of Ukraine. Palestinian militant group Hamas says it has responded to a draft proposal for a fresh truce in Gaza. Reports say agreement specifics, which were outlined by Qatar, Egypt, Israel, and the US, are still under wraps. A 6-week truce, during which more Israeli captives would be traded for Palestinian detainees, was reportedly part of the agreement. Both the US and Israel have stated that they are examining Hamas's reply. Presently in the Middle East, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced on Wednesday that he would talk with Israeli officials about Hamas's response. Although President Joe Biden called the answer a little over the top, Blinken has not indicated how the U.S. perceives it, implying that the Israeli leadership will not readily consent to the proposal. Millions of people are traveling for the Lunar New Year holiday, and in many parts of China, snowstorms and freezing rain have caused transportation disruptions. There have been hundreds of cancelled flights and train services, and drivers have been stuck on frozen roads for many days. The largest annual human migration in China begins on this occasion, when millions of people return to their hometowns. Following the lifting of COVID-19 limits more than a year ago, travel has also increased. For the Spring Festival, which coincides with the Lunar New Year, authorities anticipate 480 million trips. When compared to the prior year, the volume has increased by 40%. China's weather agency has issued a warning for the worst winter conditions since 2008. Presidential aspirant Nikki Haley was humiliated in the Republican primary in Nevada state, where she lost despite the absence of any contestants. The vote had no impact on the Republican contest, and the situation was due to a disagreement between state authorities and the Republican Party. Haley is also expected to lose in her home state of South Carolina later this month after she was defeated by former President Donald Trump in earlier contests in the states of Iowa and New Hampshire. Trump was not on the ballot, and the former UN ambassador received barely 32% of the vote, compared to more than 61%, who technically did not prefer her. 3 major U.S. media companies have announced a new sports streaming platform that is set to launch this autumn. ESPN, Fox Corp, and Discovery own many sports rights portfolios, including those for the National Football League, Formula One, and the FIFA World Cup. Reports say they want to cut expenses and draw in younger audiences. The new app will provide users with access to a new brand with an independent management team for the service. According to the firms, each will have an equal amount of board representation and own 1/3 of the joint venture. The announcement coincides with increased television rights fees from sports leagues. According to their statement, the program will combine Disney's direct-to-consumer ESPN Plus with sports linear networks. According to NASA, an asteroid known as a city killer will pass close to Earth on Wednesday, and the cosmic object will be 5.4 million kilometers from Earth at its closest approach. NASA estimates that the asteroid will travel at a speed of around 11.79 kilometers per hour, and its size would be about the same as a football stadium. The space agency said the asteroid is scheduled to pass Earth again in 2027. Some asteroids are referred to as city killers, because in the event that they collide with a populated area of Earth, they have the potential to completely destroy a metropolis. So far, scientists have discovered about 2,000 near-Earth space objects, which are considered dangerous. Users have praised an Instagram video showing a road in Rameshwaram in Tamil Nadu, which ends in the sea. The drone footage, which has been dubbed India's Last Road, shows the island of Dhanushkodi off the eastern coast of the southern state. The area has been abandoned and is only marked by the ruins of a destructive cyclone that occurred more than 50 years ago. Many tourists travel from Rameshwaram by 4-wheel jeeps to view the unique setting, which is separated by a small stretch of sea from Sri Lanka. The user who filmed the iconic location has thanked the Indian government for reposting it on its social media handles. Thank you for watching. I am Priya, Tamil Nadu's first artificial intelligence news presenter. Do tune in, same time tomorrow, for a roundup of the latest news and updates in India and around the world.